Hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? Yes, you can. Welcome, everybody, to Beyond Code, How Diverse Minds Shape the Future of Tech. My name is Sarah Rogers Svensson, and I'm the head of Retail and Mobile Payments Technology at Nordea, but you can call me moderator. If you want to hear real stories of innovation from the leaders who have enabled them, stay in your seats. You are in the right place. If you're just getting started in your career, or if you're already leading in tech, we hope that you will leave this session feeling inspired, energized, and connected. It's time to hear from Nordea's CIO and Head of Technology, Kirsten Renner. Come up on the stage.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah, and it's so nice to be here. Thanks for being here this afternoon. I'm here to talk about actually how technology doesn't move us forward, but people do. You, us, the people that work in technology. And why do I say that? I think it is the minds behind great code that creates the smarter, safer, better, faster technology, and that can leverage the real value and advantage of what technology tools and code can provide us. It is super important when we come to the women in tech and to the diversity and diverse thoughts theme that we talk about who's in the room when we make decisions. And I've been at events like this earlier in my career and in my life. And I remember there was phases where we kind of women felt sorry for ourselves being a minority and maybe being undervalued. I want to take a very, very different approach. We're talking about power and we're talking about strength. And that's the power of diversity and diverse thinking and what we can bring to the table in technology. I will speak about how diverse minds shape the future of technology, and I will use some, let's say, hot technology themes to also look at it from a broader perspective. So my name is Kirsten Renner. I've been in technology for banks in more than 20 years. I need kind of long arms to see what's on my notes. But the red thread throughout my career is I've been in technology or close to technology within different banks in different countries. And always something strange was going on. There was need for a change, need for a transformation. There was a crisis going on. And I think that has helped me shape my leadership in how to address whatever's coming at you, whether you plan for it or not. And that's also why I'm very eager to talk to you about technology and about people driving, leading technology, and the role we all can play in that, let's say, given circumstances. So let's start about diversity. And diversity is very often been downplayed as a check the box. You have to meet a quorum or you have to tick the box. It's for us nothing like that. For us it is a strategy. And not just diversity, gender diversity or age diversity or nationality or culture or backgrounds. It's very much about the diversity of minds and hearts that bring the true strength to a table. I've experienced it on my own when I moved throughout the different countries and different companies in my career. When you come with a fresh perspective, you ask better questions. You feel more comfortable to ask questions. You can challenge the status quo. It really takes away kind of the narrow thinking and the narrow-mindedness. So I think at Nordea, what we see and what we have learned and what we prove and what we foster is that our diversity, being an international bank across countries in the Nordics, gives us an edge. It gives us better dialogues, tougher conversations, and with that, smarter ideas, better solutions to handle whatever unexpected elements are coming at us. So I think for us, the sentence, diversity drives innovation. It feels hollow, right? It feels fluffy. But for us, it's very practical. You need diversity. You need those who say no, those who disagree, those who ask the right questions and the different questions to be able to come up with the out-of-the-box ideas and the power that comes with that. So let's go into AI as the first theme. AI, and especially Gen AI, I would say, is hot, right? It's everywhere. It's super exciting. Either you love it or you fear it. It's been seen as the magic wand to solve all world problems, and it's also sometimes been seen as this big hammer that can really destroy or disrupt in the wrong way. And I think it's a little bit of both. So the way we address AI at Nordea is very much to make sure that we give it the proper human accountability and the human touch. We use AI, we have use cases in how it can help us handle financial crime, how it can detect anomalies, how it can help our agents to collect information, to analyze information, to help and faster help our customers. We use it to get more efficient processes in our operations, for instance, in problem and change management, to figure out where we should look for the root cause in an incident. So it's everywhere, and we're using it wisely. But one thing we've learned, and we very strongly apply, is the quality of AI is as good as the person who built it and the person who uses it. So we have to really be smart and ask the responsible questions. What data is this trained on? What might it have missed? How do I ask a question that I get the right and the proper answer? And if the answer comes, do we have a human actually assessing it and applying it rather than just throwing it out and assuming it's the truth? So I think what we very much do with AI is we want to make it fair, we want to make it ethical, we want to make it responsible, and it's a very cool and awesome and exciting technology, but it very much needs the humans, it needs us, it needs the engineers and the leaders in the room to make sure that we apply it very well for our customers and for our employees. Let's talk about another interesting theme, cybersecurity. It's been a little bit hidden, I would say, earlier in technology organizations, but more and more with the digital world opening up 24/7, customer directly accessing their funds and their money and their balance statement through a digital channel requires more and more direct security on outward-facing elements. And let's say, given the geopolitical situations we're in, it's even more relevant than ever that we have proper cyber protection and cyber security. But for us, cyber is not just about the tools and about the controls. It is about trust. As you have seen, and I think many of us have experienced in the Nordics, with, let's say, countries joining NATO, there's been an increased activity on the cyber front, and critical infrastructure companies like us have been disrupted by DDoS attacks. DDoS in itself is not dangerous, you know that, but it's super annoying, right? And it hurts customers and when they want to do their business. But for us, cybersecurity is not just about the technology and the protection. It's also about our role in society and our role to protect people's assets, information, data, money. And with that, also when we handled the big cyber events last year, it was not just technology facing this issue. We had cross-cultural, cross-discipline, also cross-cultural, but it was cross-discipline teams. We collaborated together with communications and with group people and with other experts to make sure that when we are handling the attacks, it was not just about technology and tools and fighting the cat and mouse game. It was also about communication, about being very clear and transparent about it towards our customers, towards the media, towards the authorities, to make sure that we take our role in protecting society from bad elements like this, let's put it that way. So also in cybersecurity, which is a hardcore technology competence, the role and the value of the humans and the individuals is significant. Now, where does this lead us, and where does it bring us as humans, as the people in technology, as the leaders in technology? Why do we believe that leading and leading differently and having this focus on diversity of thoughts brings the added value? I think what we have learned is, as a bank, We want to embrace and recognize the complexity that technology brings. There's new technologies popping up more regular than you can read about it. There's new technologies that we have to learn about, but the only constant is that it will be changing, and we need people who are able to handle it, who are able to ask the right questions, who are able to bring in their experience and their content, and who then can help us understand and apply it in the best way. So what we at Nordea again say is that we want to lead differently. We embrace diversity of thinking, we embrace diversity of expertise, of culture, of background, and with that we know that we have the smartest group to bring us the solutions and to bring our customers the solutions that matter most to the individuals. If I can make one phrase on, let's say, lead differently, we definitely believe that in technology, it's upside down. In technology, the leadership makes the biggest difference. So if I may conclude, thank you, you made me laugh. If I may conclude, the things you need to take away from this is, one, diversity and diversity of diverse thinking keeps us away and protects us from having this narrow mind. It is extremely important in life, but I would say even more important in technology. Then AI is an awesome technology, and there will be more awesome technologies like AI coming at us. But it needs the human heart and mind to create the true value for our customers and our employees. Cybersecurity is extremely important, always, but given the geopolitical circumstances, even more. But it's more than the technical controls. It also involves and includes the diverse expertise and people to help us protect society. Then last but not least, so real leadership happens in technology where people bring their hearts and their minds to the table. And that's what technology aims to do and what we do at Nordea. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much, Kirsten, for your thought-provoking words. And we are going to continue on this train of thought with our panelists. Can we please have the panelists up on the stage? And Kirsten, take a seat.
Right.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let me introduce my friends here. We have Helene Orlander, who's the head of Group Functions Architecture. We have Sophia Bemnet, who's the head of our core banking program. And we have Leila Adawi, who is the head of mortgage development. So lovely to have you all here. Are we all sitting comfortably? Yes. Perfect. Then we will dive in with a question to you, Leila. As the head of mortgage development, your services support customers through some of their biggest life moments. I'm sure we all agree that buying or selling a home can be pretty overwhelming, right? So, Leila, how does your team work with innovation to make this journey smoother and smarter and more customer-centric?
I think that building or leading a development hub around mortgages is so much more than just building software. And we are actually navigating our customers in one of the most important events in their life, both emotionally and financially. And I think we take that responsibility with us when we then go in and start our innovation. And what I think is the most important, what we have as a belief, is technology should remove friction, not add to it. So we constantly ask ourselves, if I was a customer, where in the process would I feel friction? Where is the stress? Where is confusion when I actually would buy a home? And what we then do is, how can we turn that, have innovation as a part of our mind, to turn that into clarity and comfortable or in confidence, give that to our customers that they can take the next steps into our customer journey. And I think that as leading that hub, and how I would like also to advise, is to think end to end for our customers, but also to think big, be bold. And I think diversity comes into that and fuels that boldness that we have, and think differently. because our customer base is wide and it's a lot of different expectations and also interactions, and they have different expectations on us at Nordea. So we also need to mirror that when we meet up. So when we get a business problem or a business need, as we called it, we address it as a team sport. And for me, representing the business, my role in this is to really know my stuff. And I think that being on the business side, knowing like from a customer's perspective, I think that I never understood as much of the business process than I did when I started working with technology, because it's there where you get all the questions. Why do you have this business rule? Why is it this and that way? So you get challenged, and that healthy friction is what it's all about, I would say. And then when coming to the next step is then to understanding what is my business process, what is our vision from a business perspective, and then convey that vision to my technology team together with IT analysts, business analysts, UX designers, solution architecture, all of us together to actually then co-create and innovate together. And I think that is where like the real magic happens. And from that, we can then both convey the vision, but actually the team will expand it. And here diversity is so important, because there is where you challenge each other and also have this diversity of thought, where you come from different nationalities, different cultures, different religions, and that is also a part that you bring with you in actually the whole co-creation. And it's so empowering to see, like you said about different minds, that is where actually the magic happens.
Could you maybe treat us to a concrete example of an innovation in your area?
I think one of the key areas that we have had, and also was a front runner actually for Nordea in the Swedish market, was that we had this vision that we wanted to make. If you are when you're buying a home, you can also feel that it's a bit as a black box. So we wanted to make the journey predictable for our customers. From that you are dreaming, that you're like finding a home, to a loan promise, and then after that you find your home, you won the bid, and then you actually got the mortgage and the keys. So having an intelligent customer tracker where you then could see each step and what is expected of you is something that we built for Sweden. And it was a front runner and first on the market a couple of years ago. And I think that was one of the key areas where we launched something and then actually widen that vision. What can we do even better? What are the things that we can pre-fill with data, or we can scale it up to another country? And I think that is one of the areas that we are very proud of and now also expanding our vision around.
Thank you very much, Leila. And I agree, it's very powerful to be able to make big life moments easier with technology. But it's also important to keep our customers safe. And so we come to you, Helene, working with financial anti-crime. Let's talk about it. It's a growing threat for society at large. It's an area where banks in particular have an opportunity, but also a responsibility to keep our customers safe. How is your team working with technology and creativity to address that?
Yes, Sarah. I think we need to explain to the audience what financial crime is. I know that it's not easy coming into a new industry, so financial crime comes in many forms. It could be crimes directed towards the customer of the bank, like the things that we see on the news sometimes. It could be directed towards the bank itself, or it could be directed to the society at large. Criminals that want to break laws that we have stipulated, doing money laundering, breaking sanctions, and dealing with countries like Russia, Iran, North Korea, and so on. And what we see is that criminals get more and more sophisticated, using tech and AI as their tools. At Nordea, we fight criminals in all these aspects. And Sometimes we use AI, as you talked about, and just to give you an example, we look for deviations or anomalies in behavior of customers. And that could be used in like transactions, payments, or other places. But before we do that, we work with something called Know Your Customer. We need to know things about you. And I think you all have experienced that you sometimes, when you log on to the internet bank, get questions like, where do your earnings get from? Or how many times are you going to take out cash from a cash machine? Or do you have a sensitive position, like, or a relative being a politician, for example? These are things that we try to find out about you, so we know when you break your patterns and you deviate from that. And that is part of fighting financial crime. When it comes to, and in that case, we use predictive AI, I would say. When it comes to large corporates, multinational corporates, it's not easy to hand over a questionnaire and they will answer. But we need to find out what kind of business are they doing? Who are the owners? How do they behave on the market? So in that perspective, we try to gather as much information as possible about that customer. If we go back a year, it took a couple of days, maybe a week, to find out the information we needed about the customer, manual work. Today, using generative AI, not the general one that you find and use yourself, but we select sources, trusted sources to us, and take the information, the insights, and deliver them in a nice package to the experts at the bank that then can evaluate that customer. So these are some of the things that we do to keep Nordea's customers safe.
So I hear you that in the fight against financial crime, it's really important to have an edge. So how does diversity of thought play into that?
Yeah, you heard Kirsten talking about embracing different minds, and we do that, but we do more. In our operating model, we have one business lead for this. We have 14 service area, and financial crime prevention is one of them. But we have a business lead that knows the context, knows the business priorities. We have a tech lead that knows the deep technical matters and have an expertise in technology. And we have an architecture lead, and that person is reporting to me, in this case, that bring tech and business together. And just looking at what we have in my area, financial crime prevention, we have one person from the UK leading the business, we have one person from Denmark leading the tech, and we have a person from Australia with Philippine roots leading the architecture. And by the way, did I forget to mention they are all women?
Thank you very much, Helene. I mean, obviously, collaboration is key, right? And never more so than when worlds collide. Sophia, you have a special microphone. Does it work?
Yes, I think somebody told them that she moves her hands too much. Give her a mic. So I am sufficiently tied up.
Perfect. Then you can't avoid my question. Sophia, your work sits right at the center of legacy systems and cutting-edge innovation. So how do you balance stability with transition?
First of all, I have to remember to keep time, so forgive me if I run a little bit late. But I think it really goes down to the heart and mind that Kirsten was mentioning. It's people make it happen. And why? Because you think critically, and when you have that diversity of thought, you're able to challenge status quo. You ask the right questions. And I think Leila said about you have to have, in fact, there's a quote that says the spark of truth is ignited from the clashes of differing opinions. So that you not only embrace it, you actually seek it out and you value it and you bring it in. And I think that's what helps you to see how do you ensure that the old continues to serve while the new is coming in, and the new is coming in on top of the old, and therefore with transparency and humility and respect, all the values that we take for granted, which is tied to the heart and mind, coming together allows you to be innovative. And that means that there may be a tool that you leverage to speed up the stability, or another tool that will help you manage the coexistence period as you're transitioning. A lot of times when you do these big transformation programs, they're not a 2-week thing or a 2-year thing. So sustaining that whole process from beginning to end, thinking about what needs to be done, how it needs to be done, staggered at the right pace, and again, around the people who, in the one hand, may have all the information when it comes to the old world, and the other side, you have all the information when it comes to the new world, and how do you bring these two together to basically play on each other's strength. And that's really where it boils down to focusing on the heart and mind. It's about people. We're not, it's a favorite, it's not, we're not producing widgets along an assembly line. It's people's mind. And so the more out of the box one thinks, the more you create a healthy environment for these conversations to happen, the easier and more successful you're able to deliver and meet what is that objective of the organization. So I think that I do good on time.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, thank you, Sophia. We're going to shift gears a little bit and consider what it's like to move industry, because that is exactly what you have done, Helene. You used to work in the telecom industry, and you came to join us over in banking. You're so welcome. But what I'd like to know is what surprised you about that transition, and how has your past experience contributed to your current view on customer experience and digitalization?
What really surprised me was that we were so similar. We were both early in digitalization, meaning that we have today a lot of legacy systems and run huge transformative programs. That surprised me. I was expecting a bigger change. I also see that our businesses are both built on trust. We are heavily regulated, different regulations, yes, and we manage millions of customer interactions every day. And doing transformation in such an environment is challenging. You can't just pause and say, time out, we need to change systems because we have a business running. And we need to plan and consider that when doing it. What I saw that I can bring to the bank is what we did previously. We went from being very product-centric, selling product by product, to customer-centric. And that's something else, because you want to have a relation to the customer. And when you deliver, you need to go from just delivering customer experience. You can do that if you have a lot of local offices, people sitting behind a desk, serving your customers and being nice. Then you deliver a great customer experience. But when you go digital, you need to design the experience. It's there then, or you need to improve it. So I think I can bring that to the bank. Something else that I can do is communication or mobile communication, telecommunication has been under constant development, new techy things coming. What should we do with this? And asking the right questions is important in this. Thinking about the customer, but thinking also, what are the products? How do we make that product feeling that it's designed for me, personalized, or designed for you, Sarah? And I know that this is something that is important when we go forward, that we also can scale it later on. With the millions of customer interactions, right? We need to do it large. And the last thing I'm thinking about is there are so many things. I come from this huge company that delivers a lot of mobile communication equipment. And I know there are so many things waiting for us in the 5G environment that could be really beneficial for the bank. Combining that with AI, wow, do we have things to deliver to our customers? So there are things, exciting things ahead of us, Sarah.
And we're so glad to have you on board. But it's a really good point. We are in really complex times, and having different perspectives is essential for navigating complexity. But speaking of navigating complexity, Kirsten, you are Nordea's CIO. You're part of the executive board. You're operating right where business and technology and strategy meet. You are leading in a time of unprecedented change, rapid pace of change. We've mentioned AI, cybersecurity, regulations. With everything shifting so much, I have to ask, how do you prioritize and lead with people in the center, customers and employees?
Yeah, it's a good question, Sarah. Thank you. And let me try to have a brief answer, but I think it comes down to two things: focus and trust. So the focus is very much about, do we have our purpose? Do we have our objective? And for Nordea, that's very well defined. We want to be the preferred financial partner for customers, whether it's individuals or families or businesses, to aspire to deliver on their dreams and aspirations. So we want to be there for the financial services for our customers. And if we keep that in the back of our head, regardless of what happens, whether it's a tariff war or whether it's a cyber attack or whether it is inflation or economic downturn, we want to be there for our customers. And if I then translate that into technology, for us that means that we have to deliver in a state that our customers from a digital perspective and our employees that are customer facing or have other roles can work with to pursue those dreams and aspirations and those financial services. And then it comes down to trust. So we have to trust that the people understand and know what to do. We trust that whenever a, let's say, unexpected event happens, the experts understand what they should do about it. We have our dream and our vision and our North Star, our purpose, very clear. And then we translate that to concrete actions through the experts. So I think the power almost of leading through change and through disruption is to stay calm, to know where you're going, and then to trust the experts. And that's back to the diverse minds, right? It's not one expert who understands the world and can then take course. You need the different flavors of background and expertise, whether it's about communication expertise or technology expertise or risk expertise, come together, and then we determine a path and we go forward. And I think that that helps us a lot. So we don't shy away from complexity. We don't shy away from disruptions. We embrace them, we want to understand them, and we use different viewpoints to then interpret what to do. Then we have a focus point, and then we trust that we will get there.
Thank you, Kirsten. This does require an immense leadership competence throughout the organization, not just at the top, but across all of our teams. Sophia, With your experience in engineering and leadership, how do you see your part in shaping team culture?
So a culture is defined and or is enriched by everybody that's involved. But as a leader, as somebody that is responsible for creating that space, it's important that key foundational things like openness and a culture of learning are harnessed and curated well. And when you ask the question, how do you do that? I always go back to the self. I think it starts with oneself being authentic and sincere and genuinely conveying these values. Not to check a box, I think, but genuinely because you value this culture that then helps that sense of belonging, which then creates that space of joy, which then creates that space of innovation, because you're able to innovate when you are in that space of comfort, acceptance, and trust, and all the good stuff that we don't want to run away at 4 o'clock at the end of the day. That's why in IT, I think, in the industry of technology, we're a little bit lucky because it's an equalizer. You know, we come to the table with our zeros and ones and battle it out as best as we can, and we know that it's not just one person that's responsible, and you know that you can't do it without the business or without this lens or that lens. So creating that culture starts with authentically exhibiting it, and then there are some structural things that you can do to create and nurture that environment. I think it's easier in the Nordics. I've been around the world, so I can say this. It's easier in the Nordics because there is this culture of equity and a social structure that everybody is the same. So your offices everybody is hoteling, and there's no walls. These things do breed to a culture of togetherness and a sense of belonging, which then attributes to that well-being for everybody.
Thank you, Sophia. We've talked a lot about leadership and innovation, but there is something that ties those two together, something that they have in common. Curiosity. Layla, you have said that inclusiveness means curiosity, and I love that framing. That is fantastic. But how do you practically build an environment where curiosity is encouraged and where we have space to play?
I think it starts with open leadership. And for me, saying inclusiveness is curiosity. I think there's a personal philosophy, but also in a leadership imperative. Because when you ask the questions, you can hire in a lot of different diverse people, but how do you unlock that full potential? So in Nordea, we have different disciplines. We are spanning across different continents and also different cultures and nationalities. And by having that curiosity, not only to say, okay, that this is how it is, but actually, why did you come to that conclusion? What actually drives you to how did you think about it? Why is it this way and not the other way? And I think there is also to have this open space, and coming back to, as you said, open leadership in if also how we are as leaders coming in. If we come in and say this is how it should be and this is right and this is wrong, we shut down the room. So when we come in with a curious mind, say, okay, how did you actually come with this? Tell me more. You make space for other people to lean in. And also now when it comes to diversity, it's also that we have introverts and extroverts. So how do we unlock all that potential is so important. And here it's massive potential that we actually can get. And I think there is to create this culture where you actually ask, and then you will see that all these stupid questions or basic questions, you will be surprised how much you learn from them, because there are different perspectives in that basic answer. So I think what we're trying to do also as leaders is not to have, how should I say, diverse intellectually diversity is not only expected, but I think that is also what it needs to happen, and for us as leaders to bring forward to actually make it happen. And I think that one of the areas that we are trying also to coming back to how we move forward, it's all about actually friction, respectful friction. So how can we ask question over and over again? So sometimes can almost be provoking. So creating this atmosphere that it's okay to challenge and it's okay to be challenged, because then we actually unlock that innovation and that culture that it is okay to challenge each other and also have this open dialogue, because we will be amazed how much people actually have, and when they bring it forward, you can see that the result of all these people together is nothing that just one team or one individual or even a function will do, but as a domain, as we call it, or a hub, together moving in that direction is massive, and I think is a privilege to be a part of it.
Thank you very much, Leila. In fact, thank you to all of our panelists, but most of all, thank you to the audience. But I know why you're all really here. You want to know who won the raffle, right? Can we get the answers on the big screen? Congratulations to our winners there. You will be able to collect your prize from the Nordea booth during the afternoon. But before we leave, I will invite Kirsten to share a few words. Thank you, Kirsten.
Let me stand up for that. So, thanks a lot for spending the afternoon with us. Thanks a lot for allowing us to have this dialogue and I think to share our thoughts. If there's just a couple of things I'd like you to remember when you walk out of this room is, one, diverse thinking defends us against narrow thinking, and it's a strength, and please bring it to the table. The second is, we have to focus on people, on customers, on societies, whether you're in a bank or in a different company. And you do that through adding the human touch. So use your heart and use your mind wherever you go and whatever you do in life and in work. Then I think the element I'd like to add is embrace complexity, embrace the counter. I liked what you said, bring in the I don't even remember how you said, bring in the other sound. I'm Dutch. The Dutch are known to be rude, but we try to be polite. We disagree because we want to show interest. So don't become Dutch, right? It would be odd. But the nuanced thing you can do is just ask questions, and I think that's one of the big takeaways also from this discussion and from my learnings in leadership. Right? You bring diversity to the table by being yourself, by bringing your heart and your mind, and then by asking questions. It's a strength. It's not a vulnerability. So go and have fun. Come join the Nordea booth if you're interested, and have a lovely rest of the day. Thank you.
And before I let you go, I will take Kirsten's advice immediately and ask a question. I would like each of you to reflect. What is one bold idea or perspective that you would be willing to bring to the table if you knew it would be met with curiosity and not resistance? Talk about it with your neighbor, add each other on Mingler, and head on out. Thank you very much.
Thank you.